Welcome to Mic Check Waifu Waifu.
Mic check. Mic check. Waifu. Montellionaire. Is that you?
302, what's up?
This is episode 302 of Mic Check Waifu. As always, is brought to you by Patreon. Patreon.com/Mic Check Waifu is where you can get early access to the video version of this podcast. Is where you can get access to the Patreon exclusive podcast, The After Story, is where you can get access to 302 pre-show over on Patreon 2 days before the episode goes live. For everybody else, we appreciate you for supporting us. Patreon producers, Christian, the archivist, Rob from Dad Needs to Talk podcast, Fear, Get the Pro from Chaotic Culture, Explicitly, All for One Matt, Matthew H, Monique Williams, Simi Sensei, Frozen, Rob Stone, and last but certainly not least, our guy, T Money Fingers. Thank you so much for producing this and many other episodes of the podcast. We appreciate you. Mic Check Waifu is the anime podcast brought to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. CT. We appreciate it. If you would like the video, if you're watching on YouTube, if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're listening on all podcast services, whatever their rating system is, rate us 5 stars, 10 stars, whatever is the max rating, and leave a comment, a nice comment of the show, a review. We'll appreciate that. That gets more ears listening to this show that we love to provide to you every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. on a consistent basis. Thank you so much. This episode of Mic Check Waifu, we are going to bring an interesting topic that I don't think we have discussed before, but we've talked about it in passing, obviously, when discussing other things. But before we get into that, as we always do, we start off every episode with giving our episode of the week this week, since we cover seasonal anime. What is your episode of the week this week, Telle?
Oh, brother. It's a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Tough week.
Wow, I think To Be Hero X had another phenomenal, amazing episode for me.
Sure did.
I wanna choose something a little bit different.
Oh, Shaki.
To Perfect Saint.
To Be Perfect Saint. Okay.
I love this episode so much.
Yeah, it was it keeps dishing out again. I said this last week, I think, but it keeps dishing out episodes better than this last episode. I said it in our Discord, discord.miccheckwifu.com. Make sure you all joined it. But I said it there. It was like, it tops itself every week. Just when you think it's reached its absolute peak, it gets better. And then it gets better again. Then it gets better again. Then it gets better again. And that feels good. That feels good to indulge in this spring season. Spring season has a lot of that for me personally, where shows just continuously get better.
One of my favorites.
What's that? Oh yeah. We'll talk about
Fire Force.
Yeah. That's an interesting one. My episode of the week this week, I'm going to have to give it to. I'm probably going to give it to the Shuinji family children, just to give it to something different as well.
It's a great episode too, man.
Yeah, and the reason why I give it to it because this is what the show could be about, right? If it's just about the family dynamic, and we know what this is probably going to lead to, but if this was just about the family dynamic, this would be absolutely wonderful. And the animation in this episode, unbelievably good.
Yeah, it was amazing. And like you said, specifically on that family dynamic, this whole anime, if this whole anime were like that, in support of a character, even if it was like episode to episode basis, supporting one character, give us a little filler, warm, cozy episode, another supporting another character, give us another, but just hear me out, bro. It could be amazing in that way.
Yeah.
You know what did that? And I can't even remember the name of it. It was the one we watched like a season ago or 2 seasons ago with the sisters, the Shrine Maiden sisters.
Oh, the Amagami sisters.
Yes, it had moments like that where it was about uplifting a character.
Yep.
And then we would get like these cozy, warm episodes, and then you uplift the other characters, but it still had this like level of mystery to it. It could be something like that.
Absolutely.
Something like that. But that was that love story was obviously digestible and worthy.
Yeah, not again, even though technically this isn't ancestral, but it just feels wrong. You're all adopted to the same family since you were babies. Like you're no different. You're your family essentially.
Right.
But
you don't know anything different really.
Yeah. So I mean, again, it's not going to end up how we want it to end up. But is that going to be too unforgiving? Probably. I don't know. Hard to tell. Because again, the show have moments like we just talked about, right? Like moments like this one where it was about this internal. I'm not going to spoil it, but it's like an internal struggle with trying to be the best at something. And it was a well told story, very well paced, and again, the animation is unbelievable for some reason. Yeah. Like unbelievable. It was top notch. All right, Telle. Moving on. Let's move on to tonight's. I said tonight's. Whenever you're listening to this, is probably morning, probably mid afternoon. But let's get to today's topic of the show, Tots, which we will be discussing something that Telle has brought to my attention. That's going to be, I think, a fun topic. Telle, if you don't mind, I'm going to let you introduce it.
So the topic we want to discuss is first. Let's open up with original anime versus adaptations. Mm-hmm. So that's anime that has no source material, so to speak. No books, no light novels, no manga, no comics, nothing like that. Just straight to an anime. Versus adaptations, which would be series that have pre-written source material like ReZero. Some of it could even be somewhat of a game worthy, but there are some on this list that have, like, I don't think Cyberpunk has a game that covers a story that was covered in Cyberpunk.
No, that's all original.
Right, so that's original. But like, let's say there are other anime that have games specifically, like,
I see what you're saying.
Sonic the Hedgehog or something like that, or Mega Man.
Yeah. Like a source material, but not the source material.
Not the source material, exactly.
I understand.
Full Metal Alchemist, Attack on Titan. Most anime have a manga source material or a
right.
light novel of some sort, right? But anime adaptations, and there's some things that I just find highly interesting about them, especially in terms of promotion and how they're positioned within the anime community, not by the viewers, but obviously by companies. Mm-hmm. Which isn't necessarily bad, so to speak, but there's one that comes to mind, and as soon as I look at it, I'm like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Come on. Let me just hit you with this one real quick, right?
Please do.
So these straight to anime originals, there are some that are really good.
Right.
I sent Polow a list of 10. So he can look at the same thing I'm looking at. But you like Vivy Flourite's Eye Song.
Okay.
Flourite Eye Song. That's a great anime original. Great anime original in my opinion. There are a few that are that good. That are not like well known or anything like that. But then you have another one like Akudama Drive, which I remember when it came out, it felt heavily advertised. It was on everybody's playlist in terms of what they were watching, or their watch list. And I feel like maybe we were the only ones who didn't like it.
No, it was quite a few people that didn't like it, including Crystal. Shout out to Crystal.
Yeah.
That one
community, yes.
Yeah.
But man, Akudama Drive.
So let's go through the list that you sent me, right? Let's start.
Okay.
Let's start with 10 recent original anime 2020 to present. Let's rattle the names off, and then let's discuss on whether it's watchable, why or why not.
Okay.
All right. Let's start there.
Odd Taxi.
Yes, watchable. Watch it. It's great. It's
yes.
Phenomenal. The reason why I find it phenomenal is because it's unique, right? It's unique in its dialogue. It's unique in its story. The twist is fucking fantastic. It's just an all around Wonderful story. If you don't know nothing about Odd Taxi, like at all, watch it. Now it may be off-putting at first, but it is 1,000% worth the watch. And coming from somebody who felt like it was going to be off-putting until I got recommendations from Scuba Steve and Telle and just so many other people in the anime community that just said, watch Odd Taxi, that I gave it a try. And when I gave it a try, it was overwhelmingly good. So
yeah,
that's one that's definitely worth watching.
And then number 2 on the list is Akudama Drive.
No, absolutely not. For those of you who are not aware, it's a cyberpunk action series set in a dystopian future, offering a stylish and intense ride with an ensemble cast. Now, all of that is true. It's stylish because it looks good, right? And it's definitely an ensemble cast of people. None of it gels. None of it coagulates well.
I'm remembering like the story beats and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And how
Awful.
They were incoherent.
Oh my God, yeah. So incoherent.
It was all over the place. Vivy Flourite's Eye Song is number 3 on that list.
Yes. If it didn't come out the year 86 did, it would have been our anime of the year. So put that into perspective on what you would think of that. Vivy, if you haven't watched Vivy Flourite Eye Song, watch it. Sci-fi musical anime from Wit.
I think also Summertime Rendering came out that year too, didn't it?
Oh no, was that the year that Summertime Rendering, or I thought it was 86?
I think Summertime Rendering came out that year, but 86 didn't end until the next year.
That's right. You're right. So it was Summertime Rendering that came out the year of Vivy Flourite. Yeah,
Well, I think 86 came out as well. It just didn't end until the next year.
I see. Yeah. Holy year. What a year.
Yeah, that was a crazy.
No, because that can't be right, because I think you're referring to part 2 of 86.
Okay, I could be wrong. Yeah, part 2 of 86 came out the year after. So yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Because 86 was our anime of the year before, and then the year after that was Summertime Rendering. So one of those years Vivy came out, and it was just it's like the situation we have now where it's fucking Freerun coming out the same year as Apothecary Diaries. Like 2 10 out of 10 animes.
Yeah, Vivy for sure came out with 86. So yeah, 86 won that for sure, easy.
Yeah.
The next one was Cyberpunk EdgeRunners.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
Come on. Cyberpunk EdgeRunners for me, unbelievable.
I'm gonna talk about this when we start a video game podcast, but Cyberpunk is one of my top 5 favorite games of all times because of the story, the world, the lore, and to take that already established, city, if you will, and make this story out of it, and it incorporates itself into the video game so seamlessly and naturally because it technically takes place, I believe 2 or 3 years before the game. So unbelievable.
I will also say this:
it was so well done.
It makes me want a game or a animated series for Claire Obscure.
They're already getting a live action movie, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's either a movie or a show.
Because a prequel.
Bro, you don't know what I know, so I can't tell you what I know.
You're right. I feel like a prequel would go crazy.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That's one of the ones where you think about it. Hold on, real quick. To get on.
Go ahead, bro.
Claire is one of the ones where when they do make the show, it's best to know nothing going into the show because of what it all entails. Fucking great. It's great. I'm about this close to beating it, and that's a pinch. I'm very, very close to beating it. So
from what I've played so far, I'm vouching for it to be my game of the decade.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, you could be onto something.
I think it's easily, and I know this isn't a game podcast yet, but I think it's easily right now in terms of like turn-based fighting systems.
It's the best turn-based fighting system.
It is my favorite turn-based fighting system. And then in terms of how I feel just playing the game, I've turned it on and just sat there and just listened to it, bro.
Mm-hmm. Or you could even just look at it
and just wait. Yeah, sit in camp and just wait. Stand at the cliff in the camp and just watch. Look out, like it feels amazing.
It's a game that you can pause and just mute the music, right? and just have the screen on and looks like a fucking beautiful painting, or it's a game where you can turn off the screen and just have the music playing and be fucking serenaded to oblivion. No pun intended.
That's crazy, bro.
It's so good. All right, sorry. Moving on back into anime.
Bocchi The Rock. I didn't personally watch it, but I know a lot of people who love it.
Yeah, they love it. I tried to watch it and I couldn't do it because I just don't like music anime. It's just not for me. I really tried though, but you know how I talk about how in the past how I said I would never do a shoujo show because it's just not made for me. For music and sports are the only two that I will probably say I cannot. I try every single time, and every single time I try, it's almost impossible. It's like almost impossible for me to even get through the first episodes.
Two things Polow lied to your face because he loves Haikyuu.
That's a broken clock is right twice a day.
Right, and you put me on your line in April.
But that's more anime than music.
Yeah. I'm just talking. But yeah, Bocchi The Rock. I hear a lot of good things about
it. A lot of great things.
I haven't been able to watch it.
Let's say this, Telle. A lot of people we trust recommend it. So
yes,
give it a try if you like musical anime. Next on the list,
the Haikyuu story. Now I haven't seen this one.
The what?
Hike story. Let me put it in the list.
I think you skipped a couple. Where are you at? I'm going off the list you gave me.
Yeah, Bocchi The Rock.
Oh, Bocchi The Rock. You still on Bocchi The Rock?
No, and then after that is the hike story.
No, that's not what I got.
What's next?
Ninja Kamui.
Oh, that I think that was intermediarily added to the list. Maybe let me see. Oh yeah, Ninja Kamui is on your list. Ninja Kamui. It is different. It's different on my list than I had for yours. Yes, Ninja Kamui. That's what came out in 2024. Now,
that's a big no.
Yeah, nah, I wouldn't watch that one.
No, it's funny because again, I love to tell this story because this is one of the few times where I'm universally right, and everybody still look at me like I'm crazy. So people think that I'm a contrarian on this podcast. I'm not. I just say what I feel. And when Ninja Kamui first came out, I'm like, yeah, something about this ain't right. You can go back to our episodes. It's all archived. You can go back to our episodes and you will hear me say this writing feels awful. This show is probably going to be awful. And as it continued, episode 2, it's getting worse. Episode 3 got worse. Episode 4 got worse. Episode 5 it got worse. Episode 6 they started adding mechs. Episode 7 it got worse. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse when it comes to the writing, storytelling, the pacing, and the delivery of all of that put together. It's an Adult Swim original anime, and it is trash. It is so trash. And everybody universally feels like it's trash. Everybody that watched it said it was the biggest disappointment, but nobody said #Tajay was right. Or Polo in the case for the internet.
Oh, brother. And the funny thing is I think you actually thought the first episode was like, it was okay.
No, I didn't.
Okay, first episode. You hated the first episode?
I did not like the first episode, yeah. I thought the delivery was so poor.
Yeah.
And people was thinking I was crazy. They were like, you're crazy. This is a great show. You don't know what you're talking about. Like, that's how it was.
Because I'm pretty sure by episode 2, we were on the same exact page and was like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
This ain't going nowhere. I'm not watching it. And we had like agreed to watch it to a certain point. It's like, yep, nah, we done. And I even made it to like the end of it, and I was like, this is garbage, bro. It's not fun.
I watched it out of spite.
Yeah, it was like it tried so hard to mesh everything that people should like and made it none of it likable. Yeah, everything but story.
Yeah, so
it tried to mesh everything but story.
Yeah. So yeah, me and you were the advocates on why Ninja Kamui was never going to be good, even though we were looked at like we were crazy at first. People didn't agree with us.
Yeah, I remember. Oh man. You remember?
Moving on. Lazarus.
Now, hear me out. We've been on the same page
since the beginning of this one, yeah. It's a tech demo.
Oh my goodness. Now right?
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. It is a beautiful one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some good sound design even involved.
Yep.
But that can't be everything. It can't just be a visual, auditory masterpiece, and then just nothing else is good about it.
And yes, the director of Samurai Champloo and Cowboy Bebop is heavily involved. But guess how much that matters? Zilch. Zero. It doesn't. So don't assume because your favorite director is involved with something you loved or that he was involved with in the past and you loved it. Don't assume that their future projects will be as good, because Oda could do something else after One Piece and it'd be terrible.
Don't say that.
I know.
Say that.
But just, you know, you just can't. You can't assume. You have to. You have to temper yourself.
Temper your expectations.
Mm-hmm. Now, Deca-Dence is one that you watched you watched some of it. I watched some of it too, but for some reason I just fell off and just didn't go back. Probably because it was
it's Mecha.
Yeah, very Mecha. And that's not for me.
Deca-Dence.
Okay.
Deca-Dence was fun. I could see it being a very mainstream friendly. If this was like your first anime, people will enjoy it. But
I like to hear that.
I think if you have watched quite a few anime, it's
skip.
probably not going to be for you.
I skipped one, by the way.
You said what?
I skipped one, but we can go to that one after this one. Sorry.
No, yeah, you good. But yeah, it's almost like if you have a better taste palette, it might not be for you.
What do you mean by that?
But like if you know how like you've eaten some mature food, you like these better taste, more
no, a more mature taste buds
flavors.
Yeah.
Flavors.
Yeah.
It's not very complex, but it's not bad. I don't think it's bad because I think Dad needs to watch as well, and he enjoyed it. But it's one of those shows that if you turn on with your kids, it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, I understand.
Watching it by yourself, it might be a little too downtrodden and not good.
See, so let me put that into perspective. What Telle is referring to is like when you're a kid, right? And you love fucking candy. And then you get about 25 and 26 and you just can't do candy. You know what I'm saying? Like you just can't do either as much sugar or whatever. It's like that kind of maturity and taste and correlation to anime. Because I don't want people to think that he's just saying like you got to have good taste and you're not worthy or whatever. No, it was, but I love that analogy because it was real poignant for that particular point because I know exactly what you're talking about. It's like, and people may take this as an insult because of the nostalgia or whatever, but it's like Bakugan. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta really have really low taste to like Bakugan. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not Pokemon, but it's very down to where, like, if it's your first type of capture or competitive card type anime, then it's good if that's your first one, you know, but it's not Yu-Gi-Oh! Or it's not Pokemon. So, all right, moving on. The Great Pretender. I fucking love The Great Pretender. I think this is one of the original ones where, and we're going to talk about this after we finish this list, but one of the ones where it's the delivery of everything that feels perfect, that was just so well delivered that you can digest it. It's paced well. It feels poignant, and I can't wait to get to the point where we talk about the issue with a lot of the originals. Even though a lot of these shows are fantastic, but the ones that aren't are really, really bad.
Yeah.
And then another, just quickly going to the next one, Link Click, fucking fantastic. Man. Doshin, like it's so good. It's Chinese, so they've just been absolutely killing it. Like 2B Hero X is another one of those too that is freaking incredible. Like it's unparalleled. For some reason, they got it down. They got the delivery, the pacing, the writing, the direction, everything down when it comes to anime. The look, of anime originals there, as far as on the Chinese side of things, Chinese cartoon side of things. But now
you get to what's that called?
the one you always talk about where the dude be flipping around in that hat with the water bottles and stuff. I already knew what you was talking about.
That one's great. I'm talking about what is this?
No, you hated that one though.
That we're watching right now. Yeah, the story was bad, but the fighting was amazing.
Yeah.
The beginning after the end.
Oh God. That's based off a webcomic though.
You're right. The studio is trash here. But I do think that there are some great ones mixed in there, but then there are some absolutely.
So, what makes, because this is what I'm gonna say, the ones that are bad are so bad, like it's not even a middling part in this list. Yeah. It's either incredible top tier stuff or it's incredibly dirt tier garbage. Like, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart to the top of my soul. Like, they're so bad. So what makes the ones that are bad? Let me give you the one thing they have in common. All of them, that's the ones that are very bad. The one thing they have in common is the delivery. It doesn't matter if you're watching sub or dub. The delivery of these shows just feels off. It feels like what they're doing is they're storyboarding it with animation first, and then they're trying to fit from scratch. They're trying to fit story and words within these storyboarded animated scenes. Does that make sense? So it's like stuff is happening, but they're trying to fit in all this conversation and story and lore all in one conversation all at once, and then they move on to the next panel, and then they're doing the same thing all at once again, and it just feels overbearingly poor when it comes to the writing and everything. Like, and that's for all of them. Akudama Drive to Ninja Kamui to Lazarus. Mm-hmm. Those all have the exact same problem. It's the delivery.
But you know what's also amazingly funny about that, right? Is that I'm thinking the pacing. It's about the pacing, which obviously goes into delivery.
Yep.
And plot as well, how they tell that story in that delivery. If you're not doing that in a way that the viewer can find enjoyable, then obviously it's going to be garbage, right? But also, when you look at this list of the anime we've talked about, all of the animation for this has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. That's the one thing they have in common.
Yeah, they have amazing animation, like even with To Be Hero X that we brought up earlier. It's amazing, but if the animation is the only amazing aspect of your show, then you're going to drop the ball in so many other places and ways. And you look at things like Odd Taxi, which did not have bad animation, so to speak, or whatsoever, but it was so much more story element and like developmentally driven that the animation didn't really have to catch your eye. What caught your eye about it was what was supposed to catch your eye about it.
Right.
So it was amazing. Vivy's Flourite Eye song, what caught your eye about it was what was supposed to catch your eye. Mm-hmm. But it still moved elegantly and it sounded elegant.
You know something that Vivy did that the bad ones don't do?
What was that?
It allows silence. It allows stuff to just happen on the screen. Like, you don't have to have everything filled with something. There's times in Vivy where there's no dialogue for 10 minutes and it's still perfectly fine. It still perfectly tells a story. I think that's huge. That's a huge piece of it, because in the other ones, it don't feel like they don't allow silence. They don't allow you to bask in anything. It's just stuff being thrown at you all the time.
You're talking about.
Yep.
They're like, what's everything that people like, and they just hit you over the head with it.
Yep.
But that was part of the topic that I want to say with this is not only what makes it necessarily good, but what are the benefits to being an anime original versus what are the benefits to being an anime adaptation?
So the benefits to being an anime original is, I think what we talked about, they all have in common, no matter if it's bad or good, and that's animation. You can dress the animation up as well as you want. You don't have to worry about panel comparisons or getting something from a panel in a scene that you know is iconic in the panel to the screen, even if it doesn't fit your narrative. Like, so with that, I think not having to adhere to the panels of the iconness of, you know, manga panels and shit like that is the benefit. You're able to just animate and go off. Because is there any original that is a bad animation? Samurai Champloo is fantastic. Cowboy Bebop is fantastic. You know?
Yeah. You're right though, because they all have amazing animation.
Every last one of them, old, new, don't matter.
It's because I guess if it's going to be an original, it's a original idea, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make it look as good as possible. But that's what I also think is an advantage. Sometimes, with the fact that it's an original idea, you kind of have this level of surprise and intrigue going into it. You don't know what to expect. Like with we talked about To Be Hero X, and even for me, Cyberpunk EdgeRunners, where I didn't necessarily know a lot about the story. But I imagine even for you, there was still some stuff that was like relatively new for you in Cyberpunk EdgeRunners.
Oh yeah.
Then you got like Link Click. That was, to me, it was so refreshing to watch Link Click for the first time and have no idea what was going on, and even be able to necessarily put a thought to it until we saw what was happening.
Yeah, I mean, also you don't have to worry about you. So here's another thing that you could do, and it never turns out well for manga, for shows that have manga adaptations, or manga adaptations that has anime, to put it in the correct orientation. But is you can't take it from the manga and make it better, like by changing the story completely. And the examples I'm gonna give here, Tell, you might not like this example because I know how you feel about it, but for me, Full Metal Alchemist versus Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Brotherhood is the more comprehensive, better show. So I had the other one in my head. Oh, Promised Neverland. That was also changed completely, but that ended up doing the opposite and making it 20 times worse. Yeah, Twin Star Exorcist is oh my God, it's another one.
My favorite manga
of all time, but one of the worst anime ever. So like, you can't really change the story and expect it. Like you're kind of beholden to what the manga is when it comes to the adaptations. But, unfortunately.
And that's also kind of the aspect of it too, right? Is if you have a manga, and it's going to be an adaptation of a previous told story, it turns out to be that a lot of times when they change these stories, they change them for the worse.
Almost every time.
Almost every time. But that should be the benefit. If you have a source material, you should be building off,
making it better.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You already have all this detail, and that's why I say we love ReZero so much, and that's the boon, that's the benefit to a show like ReZero. It has so much backstory, so much backlog and knowledge that once ReZero is done as an anime, I'm going to go back and read the books, bro.
Yeah, definitely.
Go back and read the books.
And we're talking about light novel, not manga.
Yeah, there's so much that is missed in between that I absolutely know without a shadow of a doubt that is not being told here.
Yeah.
And yes, they have to cut stuff out because of it's an anime adaptation.
Yeah, 24 minutes, 23 minutes.
Because they can't tell it all. But man, bro.
Does it do it so perfectly? Yes, it does.
But that's almost a benefit, because it's like, yes, I want every detail you can give me, but giving me an idea of something I can go back and actually just sit down and enjoy and at a slower pace and really get involved in the world that I love, like ReZero, it sounds amazing to me to be able to even think that that's a case I'm gonna be able to go back into. Absolutely.
Have you ever seen a show that do the opposite? So that starts as
I want to look at the world.
No, that starts as an anime original and goes into a manga with, more detail. I don't know if I know any. Maybe I have. Again, I watched 1,000 anime. Again, that's anime, not episodes.
So technically, it would be something like Sonic the Hedgehog, but I don't know a more recent show that does that. I don't think I do. And
in our list, we probably got one, but we just don't know it.
We got to, yeah. We got to have at least one.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've watched so much stuff.
If y'all know of any, let us know, because that's an interesting thing to see. Like, okay, well, so if you watch an anime original, then it gets a manga later to continue the story of what the anime was. Is it better? Did it get better? Did it get worse? That's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah, actually, I would love to see that.
Me too.
Yo, if anyone knows, please let me know.
Me too.
That'd be cool to actually see the process for that.
100%.
Are there any benefits to being like an anime adaptation or specifically anime original that you could think of?
Yeah, well, we mentioned animation.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, this is huge to me too. It's community.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's community, because now we don't have to worry about one of us or somebody reading it and then somebody again doing the manga comparisons or like, you know, this didn't happen like that. You know, it's just everybody is discovering it all at once, especially on a week-to-week basis. I think that is the coolest shit ever of an anime original, of having the conversations back and forth like we do in our Discord about To Be Hero X. The speculation.
It's nothing we can say to anybody.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know nothing. Nobody knows anything. And I think that's the most fun. I.e. why me and Telle has still not read Demon Slayer, even though we know it's been out and been done, and you know we love the show dearly. We haven't read it because just the conversation that we have within this podcast, the reason why this podcast started, is just that much fun, that much more fun.
That's a fact, bro. Oh my God. I think about that now.
Yep. I think community is the number one reason.
Yeah. And when you have something that has that like kind of, like I said, go into that surprise factor, and you have to, especially because it is so good on so many levels, it just draws you into the, I want to talk about it.
Yep.
I want more. But since no one has more.
Yep. No one has more.
Oh man, it's kind of heartbreaking.
It is. It really truly is.
But it makes you involved in the story that much more. Like
100%.
I'm thinking about you going back and getting that screenshot, bro. Imagine if you ain't go back and look at that spoiler.
Yeah.
Screenshot.
Yep.
Take that picture and drop it in the chat. Imagine if we had no idea that existed, bro.
Yeah. It's a wonderful feeling, man. It's a wonderful feeling. But the opposite exists as well, right? Where it's just so bad, like Kamui, where you try to watch it and it's it's a conversation. Nobody knows what's going to happen. Everybody assumes it's going to be good because they like what they saw, because you know, graphical showcase or whatever the case may be. They thought it was just so cool and it's going to get it. No choice but to get it. Somebody says something crazy about Kamui and us not liking it, and I want to quote it, but I can't remember what it was because it was on Twitter 2 years ago. God, it was so good though. It was so good. It was so good for them to say that, and then now look at them. You know what I mean? But I digress.
Yeah, everybody ended up agreeing with us in the end.
Yeah, I'm just being spiteful because I can.
Shut up. Oh, brother.
I gotta be petty sometimes, man.
Yeah, bro. I understand.
It's fun.
Oh man,
that's fun.
Anime originals versus adaptations. I think, man.
Closing thoughts.
I think that while anime adaptations have way more lore and they have a way more to pull from, way more benefits to actually gain from having an established story, I think that there's actually a pretty solid track record for anime originals outside of things that are like just specifically garbage, bro. That are like, you know, dumpster fires, or just so much money poured into them that they didn't actually care about the story. Yeah.
But I will say this, I'm 100% okay with getting 3 absolutely terrible shows, but getting 8 fantastic other shows. You know what I mean? Just in a small sample size that we gave here. Like, I'm okay with that, right? Like, we can get these 3 terrible, but the greatness we get with the anime originals is so high level that, like, I'm okay with that. We're batting B, so I'm good with that. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, that my final thoughts is I could take anime originals all day, even though most of them have been fantastic. The stingers are stinkers though. Like we're talking like below 5 stinkers, but we've only gotten 3 of them that in our particular sample size list here that is stinkers. So I'm okay with that. Keep the anime originals coming. Keep the Vivy deliveries and the link click deliveries. Keep those coming, and the animations is always going to be top tier, no matter what, stinker or not. So even Akudama Trash was good looking. All right.
Actually, that might be better than Ninja Kamui.
Yeah, true. All right. So let's get to know Mic Check Waifu Telle. It's my turn to roll to random because I didn't do it last time, but
that's a fact.
You did both. So I'm gonna do random number generator, not random name generator. Okay, here it is. Okay.
What number we get?
We got 65. Tells age.
What is your favorite mecha anime? And that's an easy question on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
86. Yeah, it's easy. And it's a different kind of mecha. It's like, yeah, it's a mecha because it's machines that they get in a fight. But it's not like robot machine, like humanoid robot machines that they get in, you know? And I think that's what my turnoff is. I'm not a Gundam guy. Sorry, Gov. I know Gov loves the Gundams, but they ain't for me. I do love Alder Noah Zero though. I will forever sing that's praises.
I like quite a few Gundam anime, but I don't like all of them, and a lot of it comes from like the clunkier, slower versions of them.
Yes.
And then those tend to be, while I think the story is there, because everything is so clunky. Because even the humans feel clunky in that.
Yes, the humans are always clunky. That is a good explanation. Yeah, they're so dry and bland and fucking.
Yeah, well, the humans shouldn't talk and move like they are the Gundam.
Yep.
But there are really good, like Iron Blooded Orphans was amazing.
Right.
I like The Witch from Mercury. I even like other ones like Gundam Build Fighters and Gundam Build Tri-Fighters, and there's a lot of Gundams I do like. I just don't like. I don't like that one. That's all.
Yeah.
Or there's others I just don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Mecha is one that I can still try to turn on. Like again, music and sports I can't try to turn on, but Haikyuu is obviously the exception, not the rule. But Mecha I could turn on. Like I could turn on Evangelion, obviously. Alder Noah Zero, the political aspect of Alder Noah Zero is so good that it is impossible not to enjoy that. If you enjoy that type of storytelling. I don't like Eureka 7 though. I know people love Eureka 7. Is that Gundam? I don't even know if that's or Mecha is. I don't even know that is Mecha.
Yeah, kind of. I think it's in that list. Let me actually just check real quick. I'm pretty sure it's in that.
I always could. When I used to come on Toonami, I couldn't stand it. I was just like, that's a perfect example of what you just mentioned. The people being fucking dull and stiff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Eureka 7 is definitely Mecha.
Yeah, everyone was so fucking stiff in that show. Ugh. I equate that one to sleep.
All right, what's spoiler talk in what order?
Great question. Spoiler talk was Shoshimin.
Mm-hmm.
To Be Hero X first, though. To Be Hero X first.
Okay.
Shoshimin second. And what do we have for last?
To Be Perfect Saint.
To Be Perfect Saint. That's a perfect list.
Or Too Perfect Saint. I'm saying
To Be Perfect.
Me,
I'll keep doing that too.
Because To Be Hero, To Be Perfect Saint.
That's exactly why I keep doing that. You're right. Yeah. Lazarus, You Miss Great Pretender, Link Click. There's a few on the list.
I didn't put all of them in there.
I see. It's cool. I know. I saw you type at the same time. Anyway, we'll be right back after this. And welcome back to episode 302 of Mike Check Waifu. Let's discuss To Be Hero X for spoiler talk. This is a spoiler half of the show, so if you haven't watched episode 8 of To Be Hero X, turn off the podcast, come back when you do watch it, and enjoy the conversation. First off, this was the art style change that we were expecting to come. Did it matter? Absolutely not.
At all. Goodness, they what they say, they cooking.
It was absolutely just as beautiful as the previous episode, if not even more beautiful, to be honest.
And they kept all of the high quality movie style things that people do when they normally do movies, where like the background characters are still moving and everything like that. The whole episode is fully animated. Yep. So it did not feel like much of a change other than the switch to 3D perspective, but it was 100% beautiful. Yeah,
right. And even, lack of a better term, it still was 3D, quote unquote, with the camera work. Again, lack of a better term. It was wonderful. It was phenomenal. The story was Lucky Cyan's origin. Loved it.
Yeah.
We got a glimpse into what her power is or can be.
Right. And that's what's interesting. Because it almost seems as if, and this makes me wonder something, we were just talking about theory crafting and kind of not having more context. Lucky Cyan's power seems to be just
blessings,
undeniable blessings, undeniable luck. If she says something, or if you just believe that she believes something, it seems to come true. And is that what trust is? Trust equates to belief.
Right.
So because they believe in her ability to be lucky, she was bestowed this power of luck.
And it just got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, starting from something as minuscule as a, find a candy in my hand mini game, if you will.
Right.
It was interesting, man.
But it also, we come back to that aspect that we talked about before. Because of what people believe in her for, she has this whole internal battle that she has to deal with.
And not only that, but what is the reason why the heroes wouldn't save a crashed plane with this little girl on it?
Right.
I think that's the biggest piece of this episode.
That was the beginning with this little. That was easily overlooked. I like that you brought that up.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I thought that was the most important piece of the entire episode, regardless of everything else that happened. Everything else that happened was neat and everything. The end was kind of cool, but that beginning still had me flabbergasted 100% over the way through. And what the reporter was going after, I wish he would have still continued to fight for it. And it seemed like he is, in a sense, right, with, what he got going on with his daughter or someone of that ilk. Very interesting, man. This is what this show continues to do is to build genuinely interesting character scenarios and situations that keep you intrigued. Because again, that very first minute where we realize that they mentioned planes don't crash nowadays. We have heroes. Heroes are everywhere. Why planes don't happen?
Why would a plane crash?
Why would a plane crash? And the only thing that survived was this girl who just happened to be extremely lucky. Now, is it because she's extremely lucky that she survived this plane crash? Or is it because somebody didn't want her to survive this plane crash because she's extremely lucky? Because you think about it, too much luck can cause calamity.
Right. But I mean, you also got to come to the aspect of like, what if, and that's also just, what if she was just lucky beforehand? And that one moment of luck bestowed, like you said, that perspective of she's got to be lucky. You mean what if she wasn't lucky? What if she just had normal? Yeah, what if she was just a normal person? This plane crash, she's the only one that survived, and everybody saw her survive and was like, yo, she is lucky. And immediately that belief.
Yep.
We believe she's lucky. They don't have to trust her directly. They just trust the fact that she was lucky.
Yep.
You were lucky. Immediately, if there was 10 people at that site working, she got 10 people with luck. They tell the story to somebody else. Yeah, this little girl, she just survived.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That'll help you understand that this is all curated. Everything that is happening is curated via just people.
Opinions, thoughts.
Yep. Opinions and thoughts. Thinking about that with this little girl from the news anchor's perspective, giving her graduation speech, talk about she will abolish the trust system.
Man,
like, what does that even mean? What does that look like? She's going to probably die.
Mm-hmm. And we need that would even be able to give us an idea or insight into how the trust system was even founded or started, right? Is this something that now people are just born with? You're born with a trust system. You don't even have a choice. Or was this something that was innately adapted or like innately built in, but somehow adapted to human life? You know what I mean? Like where did it come from for this to even be a scenario that built? You know what I mean?
But you know what?
We have the go ahead, bro.
What's one thing about this show is that they don't even have to explain that. You don't have to explain the trust system at all. And that's what makes is this an anime original great? Because if this was another anime original, they would try to over explain.
Right.
They would try to tell you every piece of this world and how it works in just a conversation between two people in the car. And it would just won't feel right, won't sound right, it won't be right. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think they have to explain this, how exactly the origin of the trust system happened. It would be cool for our intrigue factor, right? Being that 8 episodes in and not understanding that at all. But I don't think they have to or will, because it's a show that don't need it.
Yeah. And
because
I actually agree with that a lot.
This is the world, and you won't, that's it, you know. But her talking about abolishing it, now that's a conversation, right? Like, how can you abolish something that is innately inherent to this world?
And ramifications of that. Imagine having to go back to
cops.
Oddly enough, because imagine this, when you think about the trust system, from what we've seen already, if they abolish or got rid of the trust system, the fear side of the system does not go away.
You would assume it does, though.
You would assume. Well, I assume it doesn't, because they don't have a reader that's initially built in with that fear or anger.
But you gotta understand, it's probably Newton's, bro. You know, for every action there's a reaction. Yeah, it gotta be tied together. You know.
Maybe, like I said, if we don't know the rules of the world, we don't. Maybe it's not. I don't know, but I am thinking that if, and I'm only saying that because it seems as if that fear side of it doesn't quite run by the same rules as the trust. You know what I mean? Why not?
It's the exact same thing.
Well, what I'm saying is because the when the guy was angry, right? That immediately he got this increase in power just because he was upset. Even with like the Enlightener, no one knew that he was getting this boost in power, really. It just happened because he was so upset. He was so angry and had this frustration with the fact of his position changing.
Are you, because you could be onto something. Like, fear could be manufactured, and I think that's what you're trying to say. If it's manufactured, then that's different. But yeah, I think it is to an extent, but I think it works the exact same. Okay, this is just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, and I'm okay with that. I think it works the exact same, but you need to be feared. Even if you're trusted and you do something bad, that can flip to fear.
Right, your trust goes down.
And it flips to fear. So right. I don't think it's necessarily that you can hit 0 and then you go into -0 and then it becomes fear, you know? I just think as long if you have trust, you do something with your powers that breaks that trust, that just becomes the fear that can then amplify your power.
But as a counter argument, hear me out.
Yeah, please.
Why would that little boy have 10 people who trust him and not have more people who distrust him?
That's exactly what that's proving my point.
But what I'm saying is, though, why would he have 10 people who trust him and not more that distrust him? Because they call him a calamity everywhere he goes.
Right.
He would have more people who distrust him already, not just 10 people who trust him. He would be distrusted more than he would be trusted.
But that still goes to my point. So if your trust level is high, but you cause fear, your power is still the same, essentially. And his 10 trust is kids, it's friends that he met at the orphanage.
I'm saying, is that like, hey, I trust that your power is
scary.
Bad luck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see you. Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to say. I trust that your power is bad luck, but I don't think that the negative energy aspect, fear part of this works in that same regard. And I'm only going off that first episode that we saw, plus the Enlightener switching and whatnot.
Yeah, because his seemed manufactured. But
yeah, because he got his power boost when that guy gave him the stuff.
But it was manufactured because he was already a hero. So could it be a different way if you start as a villain?
Yeah, well, the director wasn't a hero. The one when he had his switch almost live.
But he also wasn't a villain. You were net zero.
Right. Well, he wasn't net zero. No one's net zero other than what's his name, Yang Ching.
Yeah, that was for lack of a better words, right? That was for lack of a better word, though, right? Like he wasn't a hero nor he was a villain at the time. So
yeah, he was just a person.
He was just a person, and then
right.
He got this power, created fear. That fear got stronger. He became something official.
I love having questions, bro.
This shows nothing but questions that they don't have to answer at all for it to not be enjoyable.
And let's talk about it. The way they ended this episode, so in the Discord, I said, I can't believe they ended the episode like that. I don't think they ended the episode badly at all. Yeah.
I don't know why you were surprised.
No, what I'm saying is that there was no like ending, no nothing. The episode just cut off.
I see. I see what you're saying.
Outro or anything like that. And I'm sitting there watching, and I just see my screen go black, and I'm like, okay, is the outro going to play?
Well, the outro was when she was singing. You saw the credits.
I know. Yeah. I know that. But I'm like, man, it just cut off. But I'm expecting like, this
something. This finite end.
Yeah. But I didn't even feel like I had a cliffhanger because of what
it just felt like it cut off in the middle of the episode.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God. But it cut off at the perfect point for me.
Yeah.
Because it's super climactic to see see him walk out, and he's like, my dream is to be a hero, and you not about to mess that up for me. The way that he can't.
Sorry, continue.
Go ahead. Yeah, but the way he came out, and then just to see that overwhelming presence kind of scenario.
Yeah, I don't know. This was probably, for me personally, one of the most predictable episodes.
Yeah, it felt that way.
And the reason why I feel that way is because it was one of two predictable outcomes. And it's probably going to be both by the time these next two episodes go. And one being, she was going to want to get out of here. That was evident by the way it was continuing, and obviously showing the repetition of her daily life and what it was becoming.
Right.
And then her wanting to get out of there, so she gets out of there. Two, the Calamity Boy is gonna die. And I either thought it was gonna happen then, or it's probably gonna happen next episode. And the reason why I say he's gonna die is because it's obvious that that's what they're leading up to, for her to turn into something else, or to fully quit this to become Lucky Cyan as she is in the today times. Maybe I could be wrong. He could be a part of her band right now as we speak, or as we speak in the sense of the right now in the world of where we are in the latest timeline aspect of it all. But this just kind of felt predictable, but not in a bad way, to where it's like, oh, it's predictable, I knew this is gonna happen. It's predictable in the sense of, oh, so fucking good. and entertaining and quality writing and pacing. It was wonderful.
Yeah. Even seeing how people wanted to use her was crazy. It was crazy. It felt almost understandable. Like I knew this was going to happen because
believable,
how predictable humans are. You know what I mean? That was what was predictable. We know how humans act.
Exactly.
So it was like, of course, people going to want to use her like that, and of course, she is
a myriad of ways. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, it was, to me, it was a beautiful episode.
Amazing.
It could have been another episode of the week, but to be perfect, or Too Perfect Saint. I keep saying Too Perfect Saint was another phenomenal one.
It really was. And I mean, that does deserve it, but this could like easily be episode of the week every week. All the time. All right, let's move on to Shoshimin season 2. I don't have much to say about this one, but I got a little bit.
All right, bro.
So it continues. They pick up being friends again. They're walking along the side of the road. He pushes her out the way. He gets hit by a car. Boom. Why the fuck does this happen to her twice?
Yeah.
This is me critiquing one of my favorite shows, that we've gotten within the last few years. Shoshimin. I love this show so much. I'm starting to get a little over this piece of it. And I mean that I'm like, okay, so the same road, he gets hit by, our guy gets hit by a car, to then reveal that the same road, another guy gets hit by a car, walking with the same girl, Yukio Senai. What? This is becoming unbecoming of, I don't know where we're going with that.
Yeah. I was thinking, what if the van that she was kidnapped in,
that was burnt.
That's on fire. I know it's not. I'm just saying, what if they were all like similar vans, right? Like people are specifically trying to get her. And what is it that she did? And you know what I'm thinking? This is what I was immediately thinking watching this. She, in her revenge, made somebody so mad that they wanted to get their own get back.
The problem with that theory is that it's clear that the episode made it clear that this was black ice. Mm-hmm. It wasn't an intentional accident. So that kind of null and void everything of this being a part of something bigger theory.
Yeah. But the hit and run is still a bad scenario. But
that's a terrible scenario.
I did feel like, I was like, man, somebody is gunning for her. But that's the overarching theory that I have. Somebody's gunning for her because of something that she did.
And that still could be the case. They could be like, oh, we show you the black ice as a red herring. But I don't know, man. Either way, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like this samey part of it all. Like, why is it her again in both scenarios? It just don't feel good.
Yeah, maybe it's because they're trying to position the motion of the story around her, which
it doesn't feel good.
I can understand, and I agree. I agree with you that it does make it feel very samey. It almost drags the show down a bit.
Yeah,
not almost, definitely does. But it did feel good to see our boy excited to kind of like solve the issue and whatnot. But
not for me, it didn't. And let me tell you why.
Really?
It made me uncomfortable. It made me which is a good thing, which I think is a great thing that the show does, is it made me uncomfortable as the guy he was talking to, or as the, in the hospital bed, or the senior classmate in his middle school. Like, it made me uncomfortable, which is intentional. They wanted you to feel the uncomfortableness of him being so, oh, but what happened? When did it happen? Normal. He's not normal. He's not ordinary. So that was to drive that piece of it. But why couldn't we get that or this in the first season to better understand why they want to become ordinary in the first place? Which is it's a unique way of telling a story. It's reversed, right? You can watch season 2, it seems, first and be like, okay, now I get why they would want to become ordinary, because it's fucking creepy the way you're. Oh, well, then what happened next? But if this happened and this happened and this happened, well, how did you get that? And then you come and you telling them all this shit you figured out, like you've been stalking them, even though you have nothing to do with that, with this innate uncomfortable smile on your face. You know,
and I'm thinking about what you're saying. Would you have wanted to watch this if this was the first season?
No.
Would you have wanted to watch a second season of this?
No.
And I say that because that first season was almost like
it was the hook.
It was inadvertently like cozy.
Yeah.
It was cozy. Mm-hmm. It was subtle. It wasn't doing too much. It wasn't asking you to do a lot. It was just asking you to sit there and observe. Right?
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And then you get to this season where after we've observed the first season, understood the scenario, and now we got this kind of like separation and reconnection. Yeah, there's some parts of it that's like, I don't care so much about this, but you're still invested now because you're like, well, heck, already got a little bit of what I wanted, and I want to kind of see it go back to that. But I'm also a little interested in this developmental aspect of it, and hopefully development.
And that's the part where I'm having problems. The development's becoming, it's becoming stagnated and stiff. And it's mostly because they're trying to center it around her. And I just don't think you can do that. Especially this way, where it's the fucking same incident and accident for the same girl to try to wow you that way. And, like why are you trying to wow me with this girl being at both accidents at once? Like, it just don't.
And that could be the red herring. That
she wasn't really there. It was some other girl.
Or that it really wasn't even a scenario where it's tethered to the idea that she was at both accidents at once. It could literally just be a coincidence, not something. And that's but that's the problem. That will be an even bigger problem because right.
That's the worst part about it. Like, okay, so if it's a coincidence, weird coincidence, both times, but it could be a coincidence. So it just it will feel lazy. It will feel terribly lazy. And then now this time you're trying to overcomplicate her placement and all in an accident that happened in middle school. Guess what? It feels like lazy writing. I don't know.
Here's exactly what it's going to be. The black ice was not supposed to be there. The reason it happened is because there was some government vehicle that was supposed to clean the streets and it didn't work properly. And it was done and orchestrated by someone else.
What an absolute snooze fest that would be. But you're probably right.
That's what I'm saying, though. That I agree with you. I don't think I would have wanted to watch this season.
Yeah.
If this was, I don't think I would have wanted to watch. I would have completely missed out on what that first season was if this second season was the actual start to it.
Right.
Because this does feel more like a start to a story, whereas that first one it almost felt like a slice of life. It felt like a mystery, but almost like it was so detached from what every normal idea or expectation was for a show like this, to where it fulfilled its prophecy. It was unordinary and it made you want to watch it more. And this season has not lived up to that, sadly.
Not yet.
It's had some interesting things, though. It has had some interesting things. It's absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It just needs to follow through.
100%. 100%. All right. Let's move on to the last show, which is 2 Perfect Saint. I had to slow it down to say it right. What did you love about this episode so much?
What didn't I love about this episode so
much? I know every episode has been fantastic, by the way.
It's so much when you come like the sister. Maya. Yeah, I love her. Mm-hmm. I absolutely love her. I love her I love her connection to Philia.
Yes.
How she is just like always, she's in this state of admiration, but it's completely justified. You know what I mean? Sometimes you admire a character so much or another character admires another character, but is not really justified in what kind of person that character actually is.
It always feels forced or creepy. One of those two.
But this admiration is literally like out of the purest kind of love that we've seen in the show. And I love that Philia has that from someone, right? And even she's reciprocating that love in like the letter that we see is revealed in the end.
Wonderful letter
written to who we now know is actually her mother, even though we could see from the beginning that they kind of look alike. And I did say they look alike in my head, but I'm like, they're family, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
of course
there might be someone in the family that just looks like them. But to see that, and then even to get that backstory, Hildegard's backstory, bro.
Yeah.
Heart-wrenching. I'm like, yo, I will fight that whole family.
Yeah, 100%. There was so
much to this episode, bro. But go ahead.
So much knowledge and lore and just character building within finding out who's the shittiest person of them all, being her parents. Who basically stole her from her real mom. It's just, everything is just so, it's well strung together, man. It's so good.
The depiction of Fernando when he comes out of his room.
Yeah, man.
And he's like,
the older prince,
to his younger brother, and saying what he's saying, but he's like shook.
Yep, but he's doing this in the most mature and valiant way that you possibly can, and the way he's carrying himself. But we could tell he's not fully there yet, and it was just it's all so good. And for Mia to say what she said to him after that, and to see him perk up was very encouraging too.
That is such a well thought out portion of the show, just to. The whole show, which like you have been saying, every episode exceeds itself in the next one.
Yep.
It has been just a wonderful little watch. It's been a wonderful watch.
It's been one of my favorites every single week, to be honest.
Yeah, bro. It's building on itself so thoroughly, and that's what I loved about it. This whole episode, from beginning to end, we got confirmations and progress. And what we got from previous episodes, we got character building and dynamics built on in previous episodes, and then we get to this point where, man, we see the letter that Philia wrote. Like we said, we get the backstory of Hildegard. We get Hildegard saying, "This is my revenge," telling you exactly what it is, and Mia being like, Mia being like, "It worked."
And don't forget,
it worked.
And don't forget, we also got how the other saints view Philia, or at least one of them do. Her AKA rival, her Gary to her Ash or whatever. And it's like you gotta have that type. But she's like, she reads this fucking spell that they're gonna have to cast, and she sees that how easy it is to understand it, how well it's being told in this book, and she's like, fuck, this girl is just so good that it's hard to deny. And she's like, I'm so far behind. You can see it, you can feel it in her emotion. Like she feels like she's just so far behind someone who she considers her rival. It's just like that little piece was like, it's so good.
Yeah, but even the honor in that though, you know what I mean?
The honor, yeah.
We can't let her we can't be in her debt like this, because she realizes exactly what she got. She got a step-by-step manual, word for word, bar for bar,
easy to understand, and she was able to pick it up just like that by the snap of a finger.
Beautiful.
It was so well done.
The Two Perfect Saint has been amazing, and I'm ready for more. I'm ready for more, man.
We both are ready for more. I can't wait. But I'm at Polow Born Flower on all social media.
I'm at King Italiano on all social media.
You can follow our social medias at Mic Check Waifu Waifu. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, like the video, and rate us on all podcast services. And as always, Mic Check.
Wife.
You're now tuned into Mic Check Waifu Waifu.